All right, shalom, 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 brothers and sisters, brother Kazakia. I am going to do a response to a rebuke from a YouTuber by the name of Dub. Now, Dub is this brother here. He doesn't have any information on who he is, but generally I don't refer or respond to people that don't identify themselves. But I will do this for this particular instance because some of us might have the same thought that Brother Dub had, right? So Brother Dub went on to rebuke me by saying the following. He says, Sons of the Covenant, he says, Bud, you have no idea what you are talking about, right? So he believes that I don't. First off, let me just say this here. He's responding to a 60-second soundbite from an hour and 45-minute lesson that we streamed on the previous Shabbat. And so to get the full comprehension of what the lesson was about, you have to watch the full lesson. But let's continue. So he says, I don't know what I'm talking about. First off, how do you know what I'm talking about if you only saw a 60-minute clip, right? He goes on to say, so I responded back to him on his video, and I said to him, I said, Bud, as in Bud Light, laughing out loud. Anyway, post a rebuttal and copy me. I'd like to hear your truth. Now, I guess I wasn't specific. I really wanted him to do a video because I wanted to see who Bud was or who Dub was. Since I'm Bud and he's Dub, right? He's D-U-B and I'm B-U-D. All right, let me get back. So he responds back. He says fairly simple. It's simple. He says it's fairly simple. John 14:16 through 17, Acts 19:6, and Matthew 28:17 through 20. Now, I'm going to spare you reading those passages. Will let you read them in your own personal time. Neither one of those three passages mentions New Covenant or, right, mentions covenant or New Testament. Neither one of those passages mentions covenant or New Testament. So he's failed miserably by trying to prove what he said was easy. Okay? Now, for clarity's sake, since he didn't see the full video is obvious, right? I will let him know the criteria for the New Testament. You can't have the New Testament if you don't have the criteria, right? So, to show you the criteria, we're going to show you on the screen, right? The companion and the original prophecy, right? So let's go to the scriptures this time now. Okay? Let's drop this out. And let's bring my scriptures up. And while my scriptures is coming up, let me just say this here. Those of you that believe you're in the New Testament, it's because you believe that because when you open up the 66 books, it specifically says in the second half of the book, New Testament. That's the reason why most people believe that we're in the New Testament, because it says New Testament. Okay? But we're not in the New Testament. And the criteria of the New Testament is found in these two passages, right? So let's do it backwards, right? I'm gonna do it backwards. We're gonna read Jeremiah 31:31 first, right? Behold, the days come, says Yah, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Yehudah. So what you got to comprehend is that the covenant is with the house of Israel and the house of Yehudah. Why are they separated at this time? Because according to the judgment that happened in the kings, prophesied to the king Shalomo that the kingdom would be divided into two. That's how we have Israel and Yehudah, right? So you can't have a new covenant until you have the host of the house, Israel and Yehudah, in the house. Okay? You can't replace them. Supersessionism is wrong. Straight up wrong. All right? Let's continue. He says, not according to the covenant that I made with the fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Mizraim, which my covenant they broke, although I was a husband unto them, says Yah. Now, you got to understand or comprehend that covenant that they broke is not talking about animal sacrifices and, as Christianity says, the law of Moses. But the covenant that they broke was found in, you got to read Exodus 19, chapter 1 through 6, to see that the Most High originally wanted the whole nation of Israel, right? The house of Israel, right? The house of Jacob and the children of Israel, right? To be, right? The priests. But the people didn't want it. You go to the next chapter, chapter 20. The thunder and lightning, after he gave them the Decalogue, and they said, don't speak to us, we'll hear the prophet that you gave us, right? The preacher, just like today, right? All right, let's continue. 33 said, this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. So now notice, he didn't say house of Israel and the house of Yehuda. Why? Because the other indicator that we're in the New Testament and the New Covenant is when the house, both houses become one. The two sticks become one. There's no longer Israel and Yehuda. There's one united kingdom called Israel. Okay? That's another indication that we're in the New Covenant, right? So if Israel is not united as one united kingdom, then that's another indicator. Let's continue. After those days, right? So when the kingdom is one kingdom, after that happens, he says, I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. Now, that didn't happen on the day of Pentecost. Why? Because Israel was still scattered. How do we know that to be a fact? If you go to the letter of John or Jacob, he wrote a letter to the 12 tribes of Israel scattered abroad, which lets us know that Israel was not one united kingdom at the day of Pentecost. Okay? So that's another criteria. They were not united. They were scattered abroad still. Let's continue. And he says, when that happens, after those days, says Yah, I will put my law in their inward parts and in their hearts, and will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. And then he says, and they shall teach no more every man his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, Know Yah, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, says Yah. For I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sin no more. So there goes your criteria. So this is another part of criteria of kingdom, is that when the law is written in their hearts and there is no need to teach, right? So proof that we have a Shabbat class each week, the proof that the Christian church still gathers on the first day of the week to be taught and have Sunday school and Bible class and all that, is proof that we are not in the new covenant, because we're still teaching, right? Israel is not united, Israel is scattered, and Israel is not forgiven because Israel is still in transgression. Okay? On the day of Pentecost, Israel was still scattered in transgression. Okay? So you can't have the new covenant while the people of the covenant is not regathered back together. That's what the 1,000-year reign is. That's when the kingdom starts, when the gathering of Israel returns back into their own land as one united nation under the Messiah, who's going to be the one to bring the unity in the nation, right? Okay, so verse 35. Thus says Yah, which give the sun for light by day, and the ordinances of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, which divideth the sea when the waves thereof roar. Yah of hosts is his name. Here's the kicker. You got to get this, because this is the last point of proof that we're not in a new covenant, right? Verse 36. If those ordinances depart from before me, says Yah, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever. Okay? So what does that mean? Israel is not replaced with the church. Israel, you go to the last book of the 66 that you read, the 12 tribes, there's 12,000 from each tribe. That is numbered because that prophecy, those 12 tribes have to be the government, right, to rule for the 1,000 years on earth with the return Mashiach, right? So therefore, we're not in the new covenant. We're not in the New Testament, new covenant, any form, fashion, shape. And brother Dab, what's his name? What I say his name was? Brother Dub. Keep messing up his name. Brother Dub. Those three passages that you gave me don't prove nothing. That's what I call soundbitism. Soundbitism. You take a verse here, a verse here, a verse here to make a doctrine. But Yah's truth, Yah's word is straightforward. You don't have to go here and go there to comprehend what he's saying. He makes it clear from the top. And with that said, shalom, shalom, shalom.